Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's live reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Mysteries of Creation. We are going to start Chapter 7, the Lord's Incarnations. Brahma briefly describes Krishna's avatars, past and future, and concludes by instructing Narad to preach the Lord's glories throughout the universe. Brahma sat tall and straight, backed in a yogic posture. Two of his hands were folded prayerfully, while in the other two he held a lotus and meditation beads. He fingered the round wooden beads as he intoned the sacred syllable Om, focusing his mind on Krishna's incarnations. As the Lord's pastimes appeared within Brahma's heart, his magical palace manifested them before the astonished Narad. Absorbed in a mystical trance, the four-headed god began to speak. In the beginning of creation, the demons, headed by Hiranyaksha, plundered the earth planet for gold. Her delicately balanced buoyancy thus disturbed, she toppled into the Garbhodak ocean at the bottom of the universe. To rescue her, the unlimitedly powerful Lord appeared as a wondrous boar named Varaha. As Brahma spoke, his palace seemed to transform into the tumultuous Garbhodak ocean. Great waves rose up as the divine boar burst from the water, bearing the earth on his snout. The earth appeared like the dark spotted moon as the Lord gently floated it on the surface of the sea. Suddenly, the fierce-looking Hiranyaksha emerged, roaring from the ocean, water running off his flowing golden hair and his eyes blazing like fire. The two mammoths fought ferociously, striking each other with blows that resounded like terrific thunderclaps. After the stupendous battle had raged for some time, the gods beseeched Varaha to slay the monster. He then struck Hiranyaksha a mighty blow with his hoof. As the demon dropped down dead, the Lord angrily pierced him with his tusk. As the pastime faded, the sounds of battle were replaced with Brahma's voice softly chanting Om. Then he continued to speak. The Lord appeared as Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and goddess Akuti, daughter of Swambhuva Manu, the great leader of mankind. Yajna married Dakshina and begot many gods, chief of whom was Yamraj, the lord of death. As Brahma described how Yajna had taken the position of Indra due to no one else being sufficiently qualified, Narad again saw Brahma's mansion transforming. This time it became Indra's splendid palace with thousands of golden pillars rising up to the sky. The dazzling form of Yajna sat upon a great gem-encrusted throne with the beautiful Dakshina by his side. Gandharvas and Apsaras danced to the sounds of celestial music as the gods worshipped the divine couple. Narad witnessed Yajna getting down from his throne and bowing before his maternal grandfather, Swambhuva Manu, who blessed him. "Dear son," said Manu, "by your good governance you have relieved the living beings of all miseries, the suffering of the as the sage Kapil. His father was Prajapati Kardam and his mother was Devahuti, another daughter of Swambhuva Manu. In that appearance, the Lord had 9 sisters who married the Prajapatis. When Kardam had renounced family life, Kapil took care of his mother Devahuti. He instructed her in spiritual knowledge, thereby helping her to attain perfection. Anyone who understands Kapila's teaching can likewise become liberated from material existence and attain the spiritual planet where he eternally dwells." Narad saw Devahuti's magnificent palace. White couches with scattered silk pillows stood here and there, and satin drapes hung from the marble walls. Seated upon an ornately carved and jeweled throne was Kapila, his golden body shining like the sun. He was clad in deerskin with a water pot by his side, and he held up his forefinger in the mudra of instruction. Before him sat his mother Devahuti, her beautiful black eyes fixed upon her divine son as he delivered his profound teachings. Again the scene slowly faded and Brahma continued. On my order, your brother Atri married Anasuya, one of the 9 daughters of Kardam and Devahuti. The sage and his wife performed long austerities with the desire to have Vishnu as their son. Out of his love for his devotees, the Lord appeared before them and granted their wish. He instructed many rulers of the worlds, including Prahlad and numerous kings of the Yadu and Haihaya dynasties. These monarchs were thus able to attain either spiritual or material advancement according to their desires. Brahma's palace became a lush green forest filled with the raucous sounds of birds and wild beasts. Standing before a thatched cottage were sage Atri and his wife Anasuya, their emaciated bodies clad in tree barks. Narad saw Vishnu standing before them, lifting his right hand in blessing and saying, Datta, I gave myself. Thus he became famous as Dattatreya, which means given to Atri. As his palace again became normal, Brahma continued, At the end of each of my days, whilst I sleep, the universe is dissolved. When I awake, I have forgotten my previous knowledge of the absolute truth and how to again create the universe to fulfill its purpose. The material cosmos is meant to give the rebellious souls a chance to reform and return to the spiritual worlds. Without transcendental knowledge, this world is meaningless. Therefore, at the beginning of my day, I engage in extended austerities, desiring to revive my knowledge. The Lord then appeared as the 4 boy saints Sanak, Sanat, Sanandan, and Sanatan. These 4 brothers explained spiritual knowledge so lucidly that both myself and all the sages present at the time understood it perfectly. By following their teachings, one can at once see the Supreme Lord within oneself. Narad saw that long past scene manifesting before his eyes as the palace again transformed. Brahma and the celestial sages sat in his shining abode surrounded by the vastness of empty space. The 4 naked boy saints, radiant like the 4 moon and appearing only 5-year-olds, were immersed in transcendental discourse with Brahma and the sages. Brahma then described the Lord's incarnations as the twin ascetics Nara and Narayan. They were the sons of the god of religion, Dharma, by his wife Murti, one of Prajapati Daksha's daughter. Nara and Narayan performed severe penance, and Indra was anxious they might usurp his position. He therefore sent Cupid with a host of Apsaras to interrupt their austerities. The jealous god hoped that they would either be seduced by those beauties or become angry, like Shiva had on a previous occasion. Either way, they would fall from their transcendental positions. Once again, the scene manifested before Narad in a delightful celestial woodland. The 2 sages, Nara and Narayan, were seated in yogic meditation, their eyes half closed as they chanted Om. Narad saw Cupid hiding behind a bush. His flowery arrow trained upon the sages. Apsaras in diaphanous robes danced seductively before the 2 ascetics, their ankle bells tinkling as they sang sweetly. However, Nara and Narayan remained undisturbed, displaying neither lust nor anger. They manifest from their own bodies a host of goddesses who far surpassed in beauty Indra's Apsaras. The astonished Cupid quickly retreated with his entourage. As his palace once more resumed its former appearance, Brahma spoke again. When Prince Dhruva was just 5 years old, his stepmother Queen Suruchi grievously insulted him by not allowing him to sit on the king's knee. You are not my son, therefore you do not deserve to sit on your father's lap, she chided. The king, overly attracted to his wife, did not defend his son. Neither was Dhruva's own mother, Queen Suniti, able to intervene, as she was not favored by her husband. Young Dhruva could not brook the insult, therefore, on his mother's advice, he sought out Vishnu in the forest. The dense and dark jungle manifested itself before Narad. The sage saw a small boy standing on one leg in a clearing, his hands folded in prayer. He at once recognized him to be Dhruva. As he watched, he saw the four-armed form of Prishnigarbha, dark like thundercloud, with dazzling ornaments and a brilliant golden helmet, appearing before Dhruva. The child offered his prostrated obeisance to the Lord, who blessed him with a kingdom greater than his father's. The Lord said, I award you the pole star, an eternal spiritual planet within this universe. From now on, it shall be known as Dhruvalok. I too shall reside there with you. As the scene faded, Narad smiled, fondly remembering how he had gone to the forest to instruct Dhruva. The boy had been determined to attain Vishnu even when Narad had tried to discourage him from his austerities. Brahma then described King Prithu, the incarnation of an ideal king. Prithu's father was the evil king Vena, who terrorized his citizens and opposed the worship of anyone except himself. The Brahmanas counseled Vena about the importance of worshipping Vishnu. When he refused to heed their advice, they killed him by uttering a powerful mantra. Bereft of a king, the citizens were severely harassed by criminals. The Brahmanas therefore returned to the palace and churned the legs of Vena's dead body, which had been preserved in an oil vat. From that churning, the Lord incarnated as Prithu to protect the people. When Prithu heard from astrologers that his deceased father had been reborn as an outcast and was suffering from leprosy, he at once sought him out. He brought him to Kurukshetra and performed rituals to relieve him of the reactions to his past sins. Narad saw a magnificent white marble palace appearing like a mass of bright clouds. Thousands of cheering citizens crowded its courtyard, clamoring to see the king. The young and extremely handsome Prithu was seated upon a golden throne, with his beautiful queen Archi by his side. Many bards were singing his praises as Brahmanas offered him worship. As the vision disappeared, Brahma continued. In his next incarnation, the Lord appeared as Rishabdev, the son of King Nabhi, and his queen Sudevi. After renouncing his throne, Rishabdev perfectly practiced Jada Yoga, which required him to become dumb like a stone, unaffected by any worldly situation, no matter how disturbing. Such total indifference to bodily discomfort is only possible when one has realized his eternal spiritual identity. Narad saw the tall and graceful form of Lord Rishabdev walking naked along the rural road soiled with matted locks. He was surrounded by jeering men and women. Some of them threw stones at him and others spat at him. Some even urinated upon him, but he silently tolerated everything. Once more the scene vanished and Brahma continued. When I performed the sacrifice to the Lord, he appeared as a half-man, half-horse, and he breathed all the delightful sounds of the Vedic hymns come out of his nostrils. Narad saw before him the golden form of Hayagriva being elaborately worshipped in Brahma's sacrificial arena. All of the great devas were present, as well as thousands of sages. These incarnations have already appeared. Now I will tell you of those which are yet to come, said Brahma. Okay, we'll continue with our chapter 7 next time. Thank you for joining. Hariam Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.